Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere.
Seriously? If you're betting horses and not watching these shows, you gotta be freaking crazy. Capiche?
You're watching Past the Wire TV.
Knowledge. It isn't free. You gotta pay attention.
And ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the winner's circle for a very special presentation. Representatives from Handicapping for Horses, along with professional handicapper Jonathan Stetton, are proud to support the work of the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Accepting the check for the inaugural Handicapping for Horses event this past summer at Saratoga are representatives from the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Gulfstream Park welcomes Michael Blowen, Jonathan Stetton, Kelly Stovey, Jim Rhodes here this afternoon. Since 2012, the TAA has awarded more than $17.2 million to accredited organizations. Handicapping for Horses looks to make their Saratoga Springs event larger and raise money for Thoroughbreds Aftercare year after year. Once again, thank you to Handicapping for Horses, Jonathan Stetton, and welcome to Old Friends and our friends at the TAA. The Rainbow Six and race number 5 up next.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
You're watching Past the Wire TV, the biggest races at the best tracks. From the Kentucky Derby to the Breeders' Cup. The best horse racing coverage is right here on Past the Wire TV.
Everybody, enter at your own risk. Ciao tutti. Welcome. Another Thorograph show on Past the Wire TV. The Thorograph race of the week this week is the Test. One of my personal favorite races at Saratoga for many years for a bunch of different reasons. Always seems to be a super exciting race. Always has a lot of really fast 3-year-old fillies in it. Sometimes it can be a prelude to the Alabama, and sometimes they're just sprinters. But love the race. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to make it the Thorograph Past the Wire race of the week this week. Obviously, Whitney Day at Saratoga there was an abundance of choices, but based on your recommendations and my personal feeling, I went with the test. So apologies to anyone who suggested a race that I didn't do. Unfortunately, because of time restraints and everything else that we want to get done, it's difficult to do more than one race a week. But some weeks we will try and do that. But again, it's tough. So we went with the test, and hopefully you will get plenty out of it. The test, big history for me. Lost one of my biggest win bets ever in the test. I don't remember the year. I remember the race. I'll never forget it. I was having a really bad day. I was at Calder. I wasn't at Saratoga. I was at Calder with my mom and dad sitting at our regular table up in a restaurant, and I was getting creamed, killed. And, for a long time, I was never really a chaser. But that day I went I just got a little frustrated, got a little away from myself, and went to really not only bail myself out of a disastrous day. And back then is when I was betting big. I was all in. Just a ridiculous handle when I think of it now on an annual basis. But that was then, this is now. When you're young, you do crazier things than when you get older and get hopefully a little bit more sensible. Some people never get sensible. But I remember the day well, getting killed. Took a bunch of credit cards, whatever, got as much money out of there as I possibly could, and put it all, and it was a lot, on a filly. I believe she was a New York bred. Excuse me. Carson Hollow was her name. Johnny Velasquez wrote her for my friend Rick Dutrow. She ran huge. I remember the call. You was the name of the horse, a Bobby Frankel horse with Jerry Bailey, come up the rail and beat her by probably the thickness of this piece of paper, if that. It was that close. I still remember the call. Tom Durkin called the race and said something like, in a race that did not deserve a loser. And I just put my head down because I knew there was a loser. I knew that Johnny gave up the rail, turning for home. He let you come inside. I wish he would have made him go outside and around him, because losing by that little, you got to think he might have won the race by a nose or a neck or something like that. But he gave the rail to Bailey, and Bailey went right up it and just beat me in a vicious, monstrous beat, and just capped off what was a disastrous day in my wagering, and specifically my Saratoga wagering history. Fortunately, a couple of $500,000, $200,000, $150,000 pick sixes erased all of that. So we're here. The smoke cleared. We're still standing. We're back in the fight. So we move forward. Now, for those of you that don't know and are new to these Thorograph shows, one, where you've been. Two, you can get the sheets, the Thorograph sheets, for free at Thorograph.com. The Pass the Wire Race of the Week. On the homepage, there's a little box there. You can get to it easy from PassTheWire.com. There's a Thorograph ad at the top of the tracking trips page. Just click on that. It'll take you right there. You click on that box. It'll say enter your email. You enter your email. You get a mail. You download the sheets free, and you have them. If you don't have them now when you watch the show, you can have them afterwards and go back and see and whatever, and at least have this tool that I personally love, and I think definitely, if you use it correctly, gives you an edge. We've talked about all of that numerous times, and I'm always happy to answer any questions that any of you have on Thorograph or anything else, horse racing, or anything for that matter. No problem. You can ask anything you like. You're watching Pass the Wire TV. We love you. Okay, so last week we did the Jim Dandy. No surprises. I think if there was anybody to fault, it was me. You know, not the numbers and patterns. You know, we said that the big horse was sitting on a monstrous peak race. I don't know what his number is yet, but we certainly know he ran huge and could have ran even better than he did. He was well within himself. Who fooled me a little bit was Baeza, but I don't know yet. Let's hold back and see how much Baeza did fool me, if at all, because you know, his number was slowly regressing since the Santa Anita Derby, a little slower on the Thorograph. So let's see what he did in the Jim Dandy. I'm not sure yet. Let's see what those numbers come back and how that race grades out. But what was disappointing and what I was wrong on is that I thought Moplex was going to take a big step forward, and I thought Hill Road was going to take a big step forward. They both had patterns suggesting that. And that just didn't happen in the race. At least it doesn't appear that it did. It certainly didn't in the order of finish or in the lengths or anything like that in the results that we could see. But let's see what the numbers say. But Baeza did, it appear, fool me a little. But hey, we've done 4 shows, and that's the first one. Every other one we've done, we've called spot on, first, second, you know, just off the charts. So what are we looking to do? We're looking to find some more gold in them there hills. Let's see if we can find some, because that's what it's all about, getting that edge, finding that gold, and winning the battle. So let's see if we could do that. The test, 7 furlongs, 3-year-old fillies, fast ones. We're going to have a lot of good patterns to decipher here. Let's see where we're at. From the rail, we've got a very interesting filly right off the bat in Ragtime, who we know is 2 for 2. Both starts at Saratoga, once at the pre-Saratoga, then again at the other Saratoga, now in the test. So she's 2 for 2 at the Spa. And she paired her number, 6.5, both times. Good debut number, good comeback number. I would like to have seen her go a little bit forward, but I could certainly live with pairing that 6.5, good number first time out. Looks very, very legit on the pattern. Can definitely see her taking a step forward. How much? I don't know. I'd like to think maybe 3 or 4 points. That puts her at a 3, 2 and change. So we'll see if that's fast enough to win, but certainly what I would say an exciting and good pattern. But again, these are really fast fillies, so I don't know that 2 or 3 is going to do it, but we'll find out. Kilwin, Rusty Arnold, as a 2-year-old, 12, 11 1/4, 8 3/4, comes back at Keeneland, 9 1/4, 9 1/4. I would have liked to have seen her go forward. First start at 3. She didn't. She paired the 9 1/4. But then she went to a 4 3/4. So she's moving forward. She's kind of fresh. You know, she hasn't been out. You know, she's definitely fresher than the filly on the rail. Hasn't run since Churchill Downs, where she ran that 4 3/4. Now she runs at Saratoga. And I could see a 2 or a 1, which puts her as fast as the filly on the rail for sure. I think she's going in the right direction. Looking forward. Let's see where she is at 2. What do we got? We got 12, 7.5 at 3. 7.5 equals the best 2-year-old number. 12.5, 10.5, 4 3/4, 4 3/4. She pairs those 4 3/4. I like that too. So this is a race we're not only going to have to look at the patterns. I can tell you right now, we're going to have to handicap it as well, because you're going to have a lot of fillies that look like they're going to the same place. And that's 2, maybe even a 1 for some of these faster ones. So let's see if the 2-1 number is the number that's going to be fast enough to win this race. But look forward, definitely looks like she can get to that number. Cash call. Cash call. What do we got here? We got 14 3/4, 14 3/4 at 2. Santa Anita, no number. Then Santa Anita, 5.5. Santa Anita again, another 5.5. 2 5.5s paired. Going to go forward. I like it. A little fresh. I like it. Bob Baffert. I like it. Dangerous pattern. Getting better. Looks like she's going to go forward as well. Where 2? 2, 1. Certainly looks like it. So there's another one that can definitely get there. If, again, that's the number. Me and Molly McGee. Okay, Molly McGee ain't got no starts at 2. They're all at 3 for Molly McGee. What do we got? We got a fast filly that's getting faster. Another one. And again, this is the test. We expect this here, so we're not shocked. What do we got? We got 8 3/4, 10, and then a big jump forward, 3 3/4. Now, big jump forward. What is she going to do off that big jump forward? She may regress a little bit. She may equal it. Can she go forward again? Yes. If she does, there ain't nobody that we got to yet that's going to run a 0, I don't think, and she's certainly off the 3 and off that 3 and change can certainly run a 0. Maybe even a negative number if she's going forward like that. But I tend to think, based on her overall pattern of the 8 3/4, regress to a 10, a little fresh, comes back with the 3 and change, and now same kind of spacing, but again, we may see a little bit of regression. So I don't like the pattern as much as I like some of the others. She can fool. This is the kind of horse, a classic fool you kind of horse, especially for me. If Jeff Franklin was on the show, he would say, and I know this already because I've only done a couple of shows with him, but I've discussed it with him enough to know. He would say, she hasn't bottomed out yet. You don't know. She can go forward in a big way here. You're jumping the gun on that. But, we all have our own way of looking at it. And I have mine, he has his, and I don't think we'd agree here. I'm not sure, but I think he would think, more on the optimistic side of this than I'm thinking. I'm thinking that, she could regress off that 3 3/4. So I like the other ones that kind of scream going forward more than her. But that 3 3/4 is a fast number and a fast race. Echo Sound. Echo Sound is to date the fastest in here, who at least has run the fastest in here. But let's see what she's doing. 12 at 2, 12 at 2, 6. Regresses off the 6 to the 8.5. Comes back, goes past the 2-year-old number. Sign of a good fast filly. We've talked about that so many times. Comes back off the 6 with a 4. And then goes to a 0.5 negative. By far the fastest number in this race. But I worry. When she ran to 6, she regressed to an 8.5. She ran to 4. She didn't regress. She went forward in a big way. But is she going to go regress this time? She's coming back kind of quick. I generally like horses coming back quick at Saratoga at that meet. I absolutely do like horses coming back quick. But when I look at the numbers, I'm concerned about a regression here. So that's how I look at it. I'm not, do I want to bet the favorite when I'm concerned about a possible bounce or regression? I don't. Moving right along. Autisma. Autisma lightly raced 12 1/4 at 2. 1 start at 3 goes. Oh no, I'm sorry. 2 starts at 3, spaced well out. A 7 goes forward at 3 like we like, and then goes a little bit forward to 6.5. Fresh, runs back quick, but when you have that few starts, I'm not that worried about her running back quick, but I'm worried about her just not being fast enough, even with a forward move of 4 points to a 2 or 3 points to a 3. And I do suspect she can, go forward here, but forward enough to win, I don't think so off the 6. I'd be a lot more comfortable if it was a 5 or a 4, but it's not. So there's that. Okay, Beauty Reigns, last filly we're going to deal with here. We got at 2, 10 3/4, 10 1/2, little forward movement. But at 3, interesting. 12, 10 1/2, 7 3/4, 6 1/2, 4. Definitely, if you've watched my Thorograph shows over time, you know the slow, steady, gradual progression equals a lot more of this than those fast monster jumps forward, which often lead to a little bit of a regression or a step backwards or the dreaded bounce. Beauty reigns. She's got that 4. Goes forward again, 2, 3 points, like she's been doing consistently. I'd say she's right there. So the way I read the numbers and patterns, and again, for those new, we're not deep diving the race. We're identifying the numbers and patterns and looking for who's fast enough to win, who looks like they're going forward, who looks like they're leveling off, and who looks like they may bounce or regress. So those are things that are extremely valuable to know when you're actually handicapping the race and looking at the pace, how much speed is in there, who's here, who's there, who's where, and how you think the race is going to unfold and play out. So keep that in mind. This is the Thorograph I use as a tool to make my overall decision, and it's a tool I think, if used properly, gives you a tremendous edge over anybody who's not using it or anybody who's not using it properly. And there's a zillion people out there not using it properly. And the first 3 weeks of us doing these shows showed that, because we were against horses that people were reading the numbers and saying couldn't lose. They all lost. So you gotta know what you're looking at and who you're listening to and what you're seeing. So let's recap it and see where we are. Is it a perfect scenario? No, because these races are always tricky. You always gotta really get into those numbers and patterns and not be scared to back and go with what you see and what you feel, even if it's against the grain. And we've done that, the first couple of weeks, beating odds-on horses. She Feels Pretty, and I forget that filly, Mark Cassie's filly that everybody thought was in the winner's circle before they ran the race a couple of weeks back in the Belmont Oaks at Saratoga. Her name escapes me for the minute, but Ragtime, we talked about having a very nice pattern, eligible to move forward, should move forward, but a little concerned about not being able to go forward enough to win the race based on the number that we project she might be able to get to. Kilwin, we thought, or I thought, I should say, definitely could get to that number going forward. Look Forward, another one going forward, and could get to the number. Cash Call was another one going forward and looked like could get to the number. Me and Molly McGee, a horse that'll get plenty of attention and ran very fast, but we were concerned about a regret. At least I say we. I should say me. Apologies. I was concerned about a regression. Echo Sound, the favorite, fastest to date. No doubt about that. Everybody and their sister will see that. But I'm a little concerned about a regression. Can they regress and win sometimes? Absolutely. Can they bounce and win sometimes? Absolutely. Can she bounce and win from a 0.5 negative to a 1 or a 2 and win the race? Absolutely. But I don't like chalk on a pattern that I think could be a bounce or regression kind of situation. So I'm careful with those. I don't say I'd never bet them or would never use them, but I'm careful with them. I try and look for something that I'm relatively confident is going forward. Maybe I don't win. Maybe it's not the fastest. Maybe it's not fast enough to get there. But I like to be confident in a wager that my horse is moving forward on the Thorograph. So that's important to me. We thought Artisma was going forward, did have a good pattern, but probably has too much to go forward in order to get to the win. Beauty Range, we thought was sneaky good, kind of creeping up the ladder, which is something that I've always liked and always made a lot of this with. So you know, those slow, gradual creeping up patterns will bite you hard if you ignore them, and I don't ignore them anymore, and haven't for a long time. So that's kind of how I look at the test by the Thorograph Numbers and Patterns. Now, please, if you like the show, if you like these Thorograph shows, hit that like button. Check Thorograph out at thorograph.com. Download the test. Take a look at what the sheets look like for yourself. Get more familiar with them. Any questions, reach out and I'll answer them as best I can. If I don't know the answer, I'll try and get it for you. And again, you know, hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. What you think, if you agree, if you disagree, if you got any questions in there, I'll get them answered for you. And also, if you have any races, let's try and get a Del Mar race in there maybe. But if you have any races you want me to do next week for the Past the Wire Thorograph Race of the Week, put it in the comments. Let me know. And I guess that's a wrap. So enjoy the racing this weekend at Saratoga and Del Mar and anywhere else that you may be watching and or wagering. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate you all. And I guess ciao for now.
A dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Son, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
Hi everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets.
Often imitated, never duplicated. If you ain't smooth, you ain't never going to be a smooth operator.
Here comes journalism, here comes sovereignty, and they square off, head into the final furlong. Sovereignty wins the Derby!
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.
Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere. Nobody does it better.